And welcome back to Living Local. So for our Caring Connection series, it's dedicated to highlighting positive social media pages here in the QCA.
One local epidemiologist is using Facebook to keep people informed about the pandemic by sharing accurate and fact-checked information about COVID-19.
So here with us today we have Rebecca Hike, and she is not only a local professor but also the founder of Your Friendly Neighborhood Epidemiologist. That's a Facebook page. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. You've been very busy since the pandemic started with sharing information, and also too we're going to talk about your personal journey with this as well. But how did the idea for this page come about?
So actually it's in large part thanks to my sisters. Last year when things kind of started to pick up with the pandemic, so late February, early March, I was making a lot of posts on my personal Facebook page, and my sisters were like, okay, seriously, we want to share this, but like flipping back through everything you post is really hard, and we need you to make it easier. So maybe a specific Facebook page would be good. And I had actually started kind of signing off on those epidemiology posts as, you know, your friendly neighborhood epidemiologist.
Yeah.
So at the urging of my sisters, I decided to go ahead and make that its own page so that that information was all in one place. And that was a much more efficient way for me to get that information out.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now, you've also been highlighting your own personal experience with COVID-19. Tell me about that.
So I was diagnosed with COVID-19 in September of last year, so it's been almost a year. And my husband was exposed at work and we didn't know it. He was asymptomatic, brought it home. Thankfully, our children were never symptomatically ill, but I was actually down for 13 weeks with COVID last fall, developed COVID pneumonia, and had a secondary bacterial infection on top of that. So I have about 4 or 5 weeks there that I don't really remember. But thankfully, you know, my husband and I both have a healthcare background, and I've been an asthmatic since I was 10, had a nebulizer at home, so my healthcare provider was actually able to manage me at home with, you know, proning just like they do in the hospital, as well as, you know, breathing treatments every 4 hours and a host of other medications to kind of keep me stable. And now I have long COVID. So that's kind of been the second part of my journey, is that now, you know, I'm experiencing a variety of symptoms, neurological, respiratory. You know, I'm kind of raspy this morning. I've been asthmatic since I was 10, but very well controlled. And I'm now a severe, persistent asthmatic that I'm considered to be in the uncontrolled or partially controlled category. So it's really, you know, it's had a huge impact on my life, not just the respiratory symptoms, but the neurological issues, the brain fog, dizziness, headaches, GI symptoms. And that's been part of the reason that I've shared my journey, is I think it's really important for us to be really open about what's happening. And I think for me personally, you know, I've always talked to people about how this particular virus is what we call a leaky bucket virus. So it looks for kind of any pinhole where it can get through. That's all it needs. And, you know, we knew that my husband's work might be the gap that existed because, you know, we were all trying to be as careful as we possibly could to keep the virus out of our home. But, you know, it does get past because we can't always, you know, be 100% protected. And I think being open about what that experience is like and what my long COVID journey has been like is important, because many times people say, well, you know, you're not likely to die from this virus, so it's not a big deal. And the reality is that, you know, it is a big deal, because even if you do survive the experience, you may have long COVID, you may have ongoing lung damage. There's a lot of things that can happen. And so prevention is really key, and that's been one of the big pieces for me, you know, with my Facebook page, has really been pushing out that science-based, evidence-based prevention information.
Is that the takeaway that you want people to have from your page too? Just sharing that real information, and also realizing that this is a big deal, even if some people try to make it seem like it's not.
Yeah, I think, you know, my hashtag has always been spread facts, not fear, because I'm not a big fan of, you know, kind of some of the fear mongering that we've seen. But if we can push out, you know, that evidence-based information to people about what they can do to reduce their risk and to reduce the risk for others around them, For me, that's a huge piece of this, because I think, you know, in a pandemic setting, we have to not just watch out for ourselves, we have to watch out for others as well. And ensuring, part of that is ensuring that what you're sharing with people is actual fact and not just hype.
Incorrect. Absolutely. All right. Well, Rebecca, thank you for the work that you're doing, and we really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Of course. So if you want to see some more information about what we've talked about, you can actually check out Your Friendly Neighborhood Epidemiologist over there on Facebook, and we'll also have those details posted on our website at ourquadcities.com.